For anyone who may not know, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, US Marine Corps, was one of the most controversial figures of the late Cold War and continues to be a deeply polarising figure. For some a traitor, for others a hero. Colonel North was instrumental in the Iran-Contra affair, where an illegal covert action that occurred in the 1980s and run outside of the purview of the standard government procedures, sold weapons to Iran and funneled the proceeds to the anti-communist rebels in Nicaragua. The operation was a direct violation of American law, and when it came to light, caused a political scandal for the Reagan administration. North testified before Congress about the affair, and was convicted for his part in 1989, though this was subsequently overturned a year later. I will be the first to admit that I came to this book with a lot of preconceived notions, and was recommended it by a friend who actually knows North personally. Much of my attitude was in line with what I believe is the public consensus opinion on North, a rogue officer operating outside of the chain of command, basically the plot of a host of Hollywood movies. But I found myself pleasantly surprised. North and Novak do a good job of detailing the nature of North's job at the National Security Council, the politics and background of how Iran-Contra happened, and on the personal emotions of North's being fired and the subsequent congressional hearing into his conduct. Now, it must be remembered that North was assisted in the writing of this book by an extremely competent ghostwriter. As a result, much is made of his personal life and military career, so as to make the reader identify with him, and the best possible spin is placed on North and his part in the affair. This is literally North's public defence. He's hardly going to throw himself under the proverbial bus. But bearing that in mind, what this book does for historians is give a personal account of the machinations of government in the late 20th century and of covert operations. Less Machiavellian, more Walter Mitty. It also, somewhat understandably, shows the media industry in a less than favourable light. The book's real contribution is in detailing the intricacies of the Iran-Contra affair itself, from the players themselves to how the whole operation was conducted. This in itself is deeply interesting. North's consistent argument also rings true. He was, as he points out frequently, a mid-ranking officer in the Marine Corps, seconded to the National Security Council. For him to organise, fund and run a covert operation on this scale without any authority from higher officials is, as he says, ridiculous. Under fire is, as pointed out, North's final defence of his actions. But for those interested in the Cold War, intelligence or American politics, it's a good read for picking out a better understanding of those issues. At the time of writing, Under Fire is available on Amazon for $13.70.
Well folks, that wraps up this video. Hopefully you found it interesting, and if so, please drop a like, and also I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments on the subject. Some of my other videos have had some really good discussions, and I hope that these videos provide an avenue for debate. And if you want to support the channel, please consider buying my book Desert Sniper, which is about my time fighting ISIS in Syria. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again.